Have you ever worked so hard to prove you're not a failure that you forgot to ask if you were even happy? Jake was 22, college dropout, $30,000 in debt, living in his car some nights because rent was a luxury he couldn't afford. But the worst part? The shame, the look in his parents' eyes, the silence when old friends asked what he was doing with his life. Stay with us till the end, because Jake's grandfather asked him one question that turned everything upside down. Jake's fall had been brutal. He'd dropped out of computer science at 20, couldn't keep up, couldn't afford it, couldn't see the point anymore. The failure ate at him like acid. Every family dinner became an interrogation. Every scroll through social media was torture. Classmates graduating, getting jobs, moving into apartments while Jake delivered food on his bike just to eat. I'll show them, he told himself. I'll build something. I'll prove I'm not a loser. So he started. Late nights at the library teaching himself to code, free Wi-Fi at coffee shops, YouTube tutorials until his eyes burned. He had an idea, an app to help gig workers find quick jobs. It wasn't about passion, it was about redemption. 6 months in, he was exhausted. The app was barely functional. Investors ignored his emails. His parents kept asking when he'd get serious and find a real job. But he pushed harder, slept 4 hours, skipped meals, refused to see friends because I don't have time to waste. The app became everything. His worth, his proof, his escape from the shame that followed him everywhere. Then came Thanksgiving. Jake almost didn't go home. What was the point? Another dinner of pitying looks and careful questions. But his mom begged, so he went. Showed up tired, thin, wearing the same hoodie he'd worn all week. His grandfather pulled him aside after dinner. Old man, retired teacher, the kind who spoke slowly and meant every word. They sat on the back porch, cold November air biting through Jake's hoodie. "You working on something?" his grandfather asked. "Yeah, an app. Trying to get it off the ground." His grandfather nodded, quiet for a moment. Then, "Can I ask you something?" "Sure. Are you building this for you or for them?" Jake blinked. "What do you mean?" "I mean," his grandfather looked at him with those calm, knowing eyes. "Are you doing this because it makes you come alive? Or because you're trying to prove to everyone, including yourself, that you're not a failure?" The question hit like a punch to the chest. Jake opened his mouth to answer. Nothing came out, because he knew. Deep down, he knew. Every line of code, every sleepless night, every rejection he pushed through. It wasn't about the app. It was about erasing the shame. About showing his parents, his friends, the world that dropping out hadn't broken him. "Jake," his grandfather said gently, "you can't outrun shame by working yourself to death. Trust me, I tried for 20 years. That night, Jake sat in his car, couldn't sleep. His grandfather's question looped in his head like a broken record. "Are you building this for you or for them?" For them. It was always for them. And the terrifying part? He didn't even know what he wanted anymore. The next morning, he did something he hadn't done in months. He closed his laptop, took a walk. No headphones, no podcast, no productivity hack. Just walked. It felt wrong at first. Wasteful. like every step was time he should be spending proving himself. But slowly, something shifted. He noticed things. The way morning light hit the buildings, a dog chasing a ball in the park, an old couple holding hands at the crosswalk. Simple things, quiet things, things that had nothing to do with success or failure. And for the first time in 2 years, Jake felt light. The change wasn't instant. Old habits die hard. He still worked on the app, but differently. Not every waking hour, not with that frantic, desperate energy. He started saying yes to things again. Coffee with an old friend, helping his mom with groceries, reading a book just because it sounded interesting. His parents noticed. "You seem calmer," his mom said one day. He was, because he'd stopped running. The app? It never became the next big thing. He eventually shelved it, took a part-time coding job at a small company. Nothing glamorous, but it paid the bills, and more importantly, it didn't consume him. Slowly, the debt shrank. Slowly, he moved into a tiny apartment. Slowly, he rebuilt. Not as a success story, just as Jake. And the shame? It didn't disappear overnight, but it loosened its grip. Because he stopped feeding it with endless proving. Today, Jake's 24. He's not rich. He's not famous. He doesn't have a TED Talk or a viral post. But he's free. Free from the weight of proving himself. Free from measuring his worth by what others think. Free to just be. His grandfather was right. You can't outrun shame by achieving more. You can only face it by accepting where you are. So let me ask you, what are you chasing? And is it yours or theirs? Because the truth is, you're not behind. You're not broken. You're not a failure for taking a different path. You're just human. And that's more than enough. If this story made you think, hit that like button. Drop a comment. What's one thing you're doing for yourself, not for anyone else? And subscribe, because we share stories like this every week. See you in the next one.